The dead of the summer is for ranking college football players, positions, coaches, you name it. So let's do it.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Happy Friday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. We have a good show for you here on Friday. We have a fun little exercise leveling players into three different categories before we wrap up on Friday with Fan Friday, parts A and B, basketball and football. So without further ado, in our opinion, we took what we believe to be the top players on NC State football's roster across all positions. So this is just the top overall players that will be suiting up for the Wolfpack this fall. What we're going to do, we're going to break them down into three different categories of rank. Are these players closer to an All-American level, an All-Conference level, or an All-Wolfpack level, meaning top three on the depth chart for that position in particular? So if you feel like somebody has been snubbed, drop them in the comments, and we'll still answer what they would have been anyway. Number one, offensive tackle Jacarius Peak. Is he closer to All-American level, All-Conference level, or All-Wolfpack level?
You know, I think Jacarius Peak is one of those truly underrated guys because even last year, he was an anchor on the right side of the offensive line. And at times, he was our best offensive lineman. That's just what I saw from what the tape told me. I personally believe his film shows All-American level, but the level that I most likely believe he'll get this season, All-Conference.
I'm with you. I'm also standing at All-Conference for Jacarius Peak. To Kenton's point, he was probably the most consistent player on the offense. Well, him and Zeke Correll, I think, the two most consistent players on the offensive line last year. You're moving into his junior season. This is his bag year. And getting him back as a massive piece of this offensive line this year, that was one of the bigger, I guess, acquisitions you could say of the offseason. And it never gets enough love because of the position he plays. Because he doesn't play an offense or a defensive position, it's not always sexy, and nobody likes to talk about the offensive line and their impact. Jacarius Peak is probably one of the most important pieces to this team that is returning in 2025. And I think if he maintains that consistency and probably even takes a couple steps forward, he can very easily be an all-conference offensive tackle for the Wolfpack in 25. So we're same spot on that one, all-conference for Jacarius Peak. Number two here, wide receiver Noah Rogers, All-American, All-Conference, or All-Wolfpack?
I see him as being an all-conference guy. I really believe his talent is at an all-American level. I think his talent, just what he can do at his best, is at an all-American level. But I think that the production will keep him at all-conference next year. I think that we're looking at all-conference second or third team next year. And by the way, please know that this is not me saying these are these players' absolute ceilings, because you know, these guys can obviously exceed these things. And if I'm saying about this young man, his talent is at that level of an All-American, that's me acknowledging it's there, but there are factors sometimes outside the guy's control and, you know, all that good stuff. But I think that this is a guy, Noah Rogers, I see him as a guy, second, maybe third team all-conference.
It's interesting because I think Noah Rogers was a little bit of a victim of things outside of his control last year. Only 35 catches, less than 500 yards receiving, and just one time he was able to get in the end zone. I think this year kind of feels on a similar level. It's just going to depend what you can get out of your offensive line, what you can get out of CJ Bailey, and what you can get out of Kurt Roper now, effectively on the sticks calling the plays. But we know what kind of talent that Noah Rogers does have, and it is an All-American level. Now, I understand you have guys like Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. That's a level that basically no one can touch somebody like him. So I think Noah Rogers makes a lot of sense at the all-conference level. But again, it's going to depend on what the offense looks like. If we can spread the field way more effectively than we did last year, then yeah, absolutely. I think for me right now, it's still a relatively big if, but the talent is most certainly at an all-conference level. Let's go quarterback. Quarterback CJ Bailey, All-American, All-Conference, or All-Wolfpack?
This is a guy. He has a rare charisma and things about him that people like him a lot more. He gets a lot of love outside of Raleigh, outside of the state of North Carolina. He has that aura and it factor that could easily catapult him into all conference. And so that's where I'll stick him. I'll say all conference because the group around him, a lot of people say quarterback is the most important position in football. I say it's the most dependent position in football. You need everybody around you to get it right, to do it well. And this year, I believe they'll have a very good running game, the best running game that we've seen in quite some time. Because Hollywood Smothers, I mean, boy, that young man he's something special. One of the deepest and best wide receiver cores that we've had in quite some time at NC State. I'm going to say all conference.
People are going to call me a hater for this, but I still have CJ at the all Wolfpack level. He's obviously QB1, and that will not change. I don't think he's quite yet cracked the top 3 quarterback level in the ACC conference. I think he's close. I think he's easily top 5, but I don't think he's quite yet top 3. But there's room for growth, of course.
But they do honorable mention now, and they consider that all conference. So that's what tells me, because again, he's getting so much love that I'm like, wait, what's happening? Why is everybody saying NC State's young quarterback, he's one of the best to do it? And I'm just looking around like, wait a minute. What's us? Our quarterback? It's the Drewski meme. Me? Our quarterback? Exactly. It's that look exactly. So, I'm looking here and I'm saying at minimum, I expect honorable mention. That is what I expect out of CJ Bailey based on what we've seen. And even some things on the other side of the ball where I'm like, you're going to have to light it up. You're going to have to, this offense is going to have to be prolific if we are to have a good season this year. I believe in my heart of hearts, at minimum, honorable mention is where he'll land in the postseason award.
Yeah, I mean, all the raw talent is there because that's what we witnessed last year. But, a year of being refined in the lab with Coach Thunder and Coach Roper and building even more chemistry with all his wide receivers, the development in his talent is most certainly there. We just have to see it this fall. I do think he's a top 5 quarterback. I just don't quite yet think he's there at the all-conference level, but I won't be surprised if that's where he finishes. We all know that he's more than capable. Still have to see it this fall because it will be a massive fall for him. We mentioned Hollywood Smothers, so let's just go ahead and angle it there. Running back Hollywood Smothers, All-American, All-Conference, or All-Wolfpack?
There's some really good backs around the nation. Fantastic backs. Guys that are going to go really, really early in next year's draft. I still believe we got a Hellcat in the backfield, okay? A SRT, a wide body, if you will. One of the ones that comes down the street roaring in this young man, Hollywood Smothers. Call me a homer, call me biased, call me what you want. Call me crazy, at least you call me. I've got Hollywood Smothers at the All-American level. I mean, did he not show us at times last year, I can carry an offense. I can be the catalyst of an offense. The play that really solidified for me, this is an All-American level young man. Syracuse, late game. We're down. We need multiple scores. This little dump off to Hollywood turns into like a 50, 60 yard or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I said right then, he's got the goods. He's got the gift. He can break tackles. He accelerates through the tackle break. Normally with scat backs like him, even if they shake you up out your shoes, you can slow them down enough to where the game can rally and do what they need to do. Not him. No, not him. He will shake you out your shoes, pick him up, take him to the end zone, and hit a little dance with your shoes in his left hand. That's the type of back that we have in the red and white here. And honestly, I think he's the most electric and exciting running back that we've had. With all due respect to the guys before him. Bam Knight is a Detroit Lion now, so you know how much I'm loving that. Okay? You know what I mean? We've had plenty of good backs. I played with Matt Days and guys like that. So this is no disrespect to a long lineage of very good backs. But from a pure excitement, from a pure do not go to the bathroom when that kid is on the field, Hollywood Smothers is something like we haven't seen in Raleigh in quite some time.
I think Hollywood has All-American talent, but I think he is extremely comfortably a top 3 running back in the ACC conference. So I'm at the all-conference level, kind of in the same breath as a Noah Rogers. A lot of that's going to depend on how much we use him this year. Hollywood Smothers was our leading rusher last year, and for most of the season, we're like, can we please get him the ball? Can we get him on the field? Why is he not playing the entire third quarter against ECU? What's going on here? And he was still our leading rusher, I think, by over 170 yards. If you give like half of Kendrick Raphael's carries and half of Jordan Waters' carries, I think you got a 1,000-yard rusher in Hollywood Smothers. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. He added another 3 through the air. He is one of the most dynamic offensive talents that we have seen in Raleigh in quite some time. Hollywood Smothers needs to be a bell cow back for NC State in 2025. Make no mistake about it. He certainly does have All-American talent, or at least speed at the very least, but he's very comfortably an all-conference running back, at least top 3. We're going to cut this down to one more, arguably the biggest one yet. Tight end Justin Joly, All-American, All-Conference, or All-Wolfpack?
I don't think that we really need to take too much time here.
It's not a question. Yeah.
I think that he is one of the best kept secrets nationally because people talk about him as if like he's a top 10 tight end in the country. And I'm just like, show me who's better. Show me who from all the metrics we look at in order to judge tight ends was a better player than him. Show me. Show me who did a better job of getting open, a better job of breaking tackles after the catch, who was a better guy in terms of just a pure nose for the end zone, a red zone threat supreme, a guy that when you're in that 25 and in type of area, you better look for Joly. I have Justin Joly every day and twice on Sunday.
He's the best tight end in the country. He's an All-American. Yeah. He should be a Mackey Award finalist. Zero exaggeration. That's not a homer take. That's actually as objective as I can be. That's how talented of a tight end he is. He should win the whole freaking award. We have him on our roster. And now you got to get him the ball. He wears 7 this year, not 15. Find 7. I don't think it's hyperbole. You should be looking for him on every single time you drop back to pass. Sounds crazy? It ain't crazy. He is one of the best talents we've seen in NC State at the tight end position. I'd say like arguably ever. Maybe that's a crazy take. I don't know. Doesn't feel that crazy to me. Get him the ball. At all. That is how you ramp this offense up to a height that it needs to be maintained at. Find Justin Joly, feed Justin Joly, and score with Justin Joly. He's an All-American talent. Nothing else to be said there. Coming up next, we're moving into Fan Friday. First, our basketball edition before we wrap up with football edition. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our Friday sponsor is Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where the heck did all my money go? Between dining out, shopping online, and entertainment, sometimes it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes into play. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in just one place so you can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. Managing your money with your partner is also now smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the stress. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. Monarch like the butterfly and money like the money. monarchmoney.com using code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for 50% off of your first year only at Monarch Money. Middle portion of our Friday show. Now time for Fan Friday, the basketball edition. Here we go. First one comes from PKC11D. They say the schedule is great for recruiting too. So yeah, I don't know if I harped on this enough on Wednesday's episode. Now that we play Auburn in the ACC SEC Challenge, we do have the Maui Invitational. We do have Kansas at home. We're going to play VCU and I think Liberty as well. The non-conference schedule for Will Wade is shaping up to be extremely important. And an underrated piece to that puzzle is how impactful that is on recruiting scales. When you have Kansas coming to Raleigh, Kansas is a blue blood. There is zero doubt about that. That's going to attract eyeballs. If you're going to have recruits come to that game on an official visit, what a time to get them in the building for a game like that. When you're looking at some of the top 5 talents in the 2027 class, imagine they come to the Lenny and they watch Will Wade upset Kansas in year 1. Imagine the steam that Will Wade, not that he even needs it anyway because he's a monster, but imagine the steam that he will pick up winning games like that or winning on the road at Auburn. potentially winning the Maui Invitational during feast week when there's nothing else to do than eat turkey and watch college basketball. This schedule is not only setting up for massive opportunities for the resume, but also in recruiting.
Grayson, I want to tell you something, okay? There is a manager, a skipper, if you will, for the Detroit Tigers by the name of AJ Hinch. And he said, we're building this organization the right way. And if you want to be a part of this, then come. And if not, we'll beat you. And guess what? People laughed at AJ Hinch because the Tigers weren't very good at that time. You want to know what the Tigers are doing right now? Leading the AL.
I think they're top in the Central, yeah.
No, not just the Central. The entire AL, number one.
There you go.
Okay. This is Will Wade's moment to say, if we go through this gauntlet of a schedule, I'm not even saying unscathed. If you come out of this non-conference with, I'd say, 2 to 3 quality wins, you could look around and say, if you want to be a part of something special, come join us. If not, we'll beat you. And you can show teams, or you can show kids, hey, this other school you consider, oh, you want to be a Jayhawk? Them boys went limping out of Raleigh now, didn't they? Oh, that's unfortunate, man. I mean, hey, if you want to be a part of that, more power to you. Oh, you wanted to go play for the Dirty Fuck Club. Oh, man, didn't we just run their head coach out of town? Yikes. I hate that for you. Well, more power to you. You know, this is a moment where you can definitively say, why did it go down to Auburn to win the national championship? We walked in their trap and took over their trap. This is what you're looking at here with Will Wade. So this schedule is absolutely great for recruiting.
Will Wade going into the heart of SEC country and picking up road wins. That's moving the needle. It's certainly making me feel things, even though we're only in June. Next one here comes from Michael McCaskill. He says, love the fact that the Pac doesn't follow the blueprint of the Tar Heels and hire an NC State alumni. Finding the best coach available is what we should continue to do. Now, let's do something similar in football. Pac is a sleeping powerhouse that has just been waiting for top-tier coaching to bring in top-tier talent. Fans are beyond excited. So the basis of this is that Hubert Davis is a Tar Heel. NC State in the offseason, before Will Wade was hired, they were, I guess, considering Justin Gainey. Maybe not even considering, but his name was in the mix. He's a former NC State player. We've kind of been there and done that. We did the Sidney Lowe experiment way back when. Didn't really go well, and it kind of left a sour taste in, I'm sure, both Sidney Lowe's mouth and Wolfpack fans' mouth. You know, a 1983 champion coming back and kind of mishandling the program. It makes it an awkward situation for everybody. What NC State should do, to Michael's point, go out, identify the top candidate for NC State, and throw everything you got at him to get him here. So again, we've given Boo Corrigan a ton of credit. I don't think we can give him enough credit for bringing Will Wade to Raleigh. This is the coach we have dreamed of. He is now ours, and we're gearing up for what feels like the most exciting season in well over a decade. This is the formula. Go out and get the best option for NC State, not just the one that kind of warms the heartstrings.
For those of you who don't know, whenever people make that joke about NC State fans, the very dated entire joke, oh, you all are a bunch of inbred hillbillies. What that in essence means is that your bloodline is incestuous. There are people in the family mating with each other. The problem with that is the defects come out at a very high rate. That is what Michael McCaskill is calling out with coaching searches. When you only get people from your university, you exclude the opportunity to diversify the gene pool, to put other great things in the gene pool. And we went out and got us a Clemson Tiger and said, you know what? We think you're our guy. You may be a Clemson alum, but you're a Wolfpacker. How about it? How about we do a little bit of reckoning for the rest of the conference and the nation? How about it? So this is a situation where I 1,000% agree. I don't like the idea of, it needs to be somebody from the family. Nah, dog. Nah, I'm not finding my wife at the family cookout, and I don't want to find my head coach there either.
That'd be a crazy cookout, would it not? No, but like realistically, they talk about the Carolina family and everything they do is within the family. Yeah, how's that working out for the family over there? 14 million. All right, we'll get into that later. Next one here comes from at NC State alum. They say, hypothetical here. if you had to choose between NC State making it to the Elite Eight or Final Four just once every 3 to 4 years, and then those other years you don't make the tournament at all, or making it to the dance every year, but you get bounced in the round of 64 or the round of 32, which would you rather have?
Mr. NC State alum, with all due respect, I don't think you realize how rare Final Four appearances are. If you are guaranteed a Final Four appearance once every 3 to 4 years, take it. Sign up for that. Don't ask any questions. A Final Four appearance once per presidential term will make you a college basketball blue blood. That's just a factual statement. That's not like a maybe, possibly.
Look at Michigan State.
I was just about to say, Tom Izzo is a guy like that. But let's also look at UConn. UConn, as of late, has turned into like this massive machine. Did UConn make it to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four last year? No, they didn't. But before that, what'd they do? Won it all. So it kind of, it distorts things a little bit when you think about it from that standpoint of like, oh man, 3 to 4 years is so rare, when it's like, actually, you go look at those Final Fours. John Wooden ain't walking through nobody's door no more. Okay, the days of one team perennially being there every single year, that's gone, and it's not coming back. So if you tell me once every 3 to 4 years, I'll take it. I'll take it every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree that my answer is also taking the Elite Eight or Final Four appearance. I will say the kicker, though, of those other 3 to 4 years, you don't make the tournament at all, that would suck. And that would certainly get a lot of people frustrated in those in-between years because, yeah, imagine you go to the Final Four, and then the next 3 years after that, you don't even sniff the tournament. Maybe you're perpetually on the bubble or not even on the bubble. What would we think of Will Wade if that were the situation? I don't know. Be quite interesting. We would all probably feel like we're being sold short on a consistent basis. Whereas on the other side, if you make it to the March Madness every year, you've become a model of consistency, but then you're just kind of stuck there in the first round. Yeah, it's great to make it to the dance every year, but if you're not winning multiple games, getting the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, possibly even the Final Four, how great is making the tournament if that's all you're doing with it? Let's say like you're not even winning the conference tournament either. You're like a 10 seed every year and you perpetually lose to that 7 seed. For whatever reason, you cannot beat the 7 seed. You go down every year and that's what it is. I don't know. I think I still take the Final Four appearance. I mean, just thinking again about how special it was with Keats just 2 years ago, we only dreamed of that for like 37 years or however long it was. I think it was 37. Incredible. Missing the tournament the 3 years after that, it would be highly frustrating, but I wouldn't trade a Final Four appearance for damn near anything. A natty, basically. That's the only thing I would trade it for.
So just to put this in perspective for you here, okay? Coach K reached the Final Four 13 times in his career. He coached Duke let me make sure I got this correct here. He coached Duke from 1980 to 2022. 40 years, 13 times. Grayson, just a little bit of quick math. What's that average? Once about every 3 years? Yes, that's about 3, because 39 divided by 13 is exactly 3. So that's 3 with 1 extra year where it's like, oh, I guess once every 4 years. Yeah, give me that. Give me that. That guy's discussed as the greatest ever was. Now, granted, of course, it's much more backloaded. And as time went on, the frequency of those Final Four appearances picked up exponentially. But you get the point. You get the point. If you're going to give me one every 3 to 4 years, I don't give a rat's behind about a couple of years of not making it. I'm going to be one of the last 4 to 8 teams every 3 to 4 years. Give it here. I need that. I'll tell you what, if you got a magical wizard that can guarantee me that, Mr. Stiltskin, please come over here. I have lots of things to exchange in order for that type of deal.
There you have it. I'm with it myself. Second round of Fan Friday, the football edition, coming up next after a quick word from our sponsors. Last couple minutes of our Friday show. Now time for Fan Friday football edition. Here we go. This one comes from Matt Gray. They say, question for Fan Friday. Dave Doran recently did an interview on 99 The Fan, and he said, quote, the run game is something that matters a lot to me and Kurt. That's Kurt Roper, unquote. And, quote, I think you'll see a little more balance with our run game, unquote. I think Hollywood is incredible and everyone is ranting and raving about Duke Scott, but my concern is with Kendrick Raphael leaving, there isn't anyone really behind them that looks like you can lean on. Running back position has the highest rate of injury in football, and I'm getting flashbacks to last year where one hurt linebacker away from disaster. Thoughts?
I think this is different because while the running back position does have the highest amount of attrition and injury, running back is also one of the more replaceable positions. If you have a mid-level, serviceable running back, they may not replace a Hollywood Smothers 1-for-1. They may not be able to replace a Duke Scott 1-for-1. But if you have a guy that's serviceable, just find the hole, hit the hole. You don't give me a ton of extra yards. You might break one a game for 10 or 15 extra yards, but other than that, we don't really see much. You'll be okay. You won't be in great position. Your run game won't be necessarily a strength, but it won't be a weakness either. So I think that the running back position is one where, unheralded guys pop out all the time. Guys that don't have the name, guys that don't have the buzz pop out all the time. So I think I'm not really worried here.
I would have to imagine that running back 3 is probably going to be DeAndre Desenor. He was a late flip commitment that we got, and possibly that might be exactly why we had to go out and get him, because we need him to possibly play running back 3. But you also have Isaiah Jones, who's been in the program for a year, a local kid from Rollsville. He might see some snaps. I would agree that we're not incredibly deep at the running back position, but the top-end talent is more than there with Hollywood Smothers and hopefully a heavier dose of Duke Scott this year. We all can't wait to see what he can do. You really hope that the injury bug does not come around, because those two guys can be a dynamite duo within the ACC conference. But I do have some slight concerns in the depth, but I think we'll be okay. Worst case scenario, you just have to air it out more than you might want to usually. And I think a lot of us will be fine with that after what we've witnessed the last couple of years, not utilizing some of the wide receivers we have. So top-end talent is there. Depth is not that good, but all in all, I don't think we're that worried about it. And last one here comes from VA Aggie. They say, kind of sick of hearing about transfers. What about player development? I think folks want to hear about the progression and success stories of players like Ronnie Royal, Assad Brown, Brody Barnhart, and others. Are those folks just not getting it done? It's hard to believe there's not enough up-and-coming talent to field these newly open roster spots. Or maybe I'm totally wrong and there is a player development or lack of talent issue. It just seems like we try to rely too heavily on transfer talent versus the in-house talent we already have. Kenton, how big of a concern is this for you? Because we have talked about this in episodes past on how we thought we'd see a lot more of the younger guys, specifically in that bowl game against ECU. I also remember Dave Dorn listing some of the guys that we've been waiting to see, like a Jonathan Paylor or an Isaiah Groves or a Ronnie Royal. And then the bowl game rolled around and didn't see him anywhere. So what do you make about not hearing a ton about some of these younger guys that we've been waiting on?
See, I've tried to keep this a secret. I really have.
Oh, we got secrets.
When I told everybody this team could win 5 or less games or 8 or more, I've been hearing really great things about a lot of the guys listed here behind closed doors. I've heard great things about Ronnie Royal and the Cyber. I've heard really great things about these guys. And so I'm sitting here saying, this could be coach speak. This could be like, we'll be okay, despite things not looking necessarily perfect. Or this could be the truth. We could be looking. Remember, before the safety and corner exodus last year, we were talking about this may have been the best recruiting class of secondary that we had ever seen at NC State. I'm not hearing that anybody is behind schedule. And I'm going to leave that information where it is. So I don't want to lie to anybody and sell you a bill of goods. Hey, we've got a top 5 secondary in the nation. I'm not going to tell you that. I have heard that these guys are on schedule. Most of these guys are looking like they're ready to make some plays. So I'm going to leave that information where it is. But again, I'm not going to tell you I am fully in belief that, hey, not only are these guys ready to make some plays, they're ready to consistently dominate, because that's what makes a strong unit. Consistently making it really difficult on teams. That's what makes a really good unit, as opposed to like, oh, you're ready to make a play here and there, especially in the secondary. So I do believe player development is happening. NC State has been a player development central for quite some time, and I don't think that's changed. I'm just a little leery. I'm always leery of talking about guys that I have not seen on the field in real live game time.
I think there is a small hesitation when you hope to hear some of these names be up and coming, and then all of a sudden it looks like we're recruiting over them in the portal. I certainly get that. However, of these names listed in this comment in particular, I do think Ronnie Royal's a name that you're going to see somewhat frequently this fall. If he was that close to getting on the field at the end of last season, I don't see a reason he's not a consistent force on some level heading into this season. As it goes for Assad Brown, that's a very talented corner. We might need some help at corner this year with the exodus and an influx of new talent. Perhaps Assad Brown's a guy you see a lot of, but I certainly understand wondering where guys like Jonathan Paylor are, because they were propped up as this massive recruit, and I still believe that could be the case. But when you don't get them on the field instantly, I think it's almost like, it's kind of like KC Concepcion like syndrome. Like, we get a freshman wide receiver that sets the world on fire, and then he moves on. We're like, all right, well, who's the next one? We got the next one ready to go, right? And then it doesn't quite happen that quickly. We're like, man, are we behind the 8 ball now? Like, what's going on, Dave? Like, where's all the talent? I think it's a little bit of that, but I think we'll learn a lot about where that talent is here once we kick this thing off against ECU. If you're seeing Ronnie Royal on the field somewhat early, I don't think that's by mistake. And some of these other names, I think you can have a similar sentiment about, but me personally, I would like to see where Jonathan Paylor's development is, because his athletic ability is something that doesn't grow on trees. His speed, his straight line ability, if you get the ball in his hands, I'd be hard pressed to believe he can't help us in a massive way. So a lot of young and up and coming talent we're still waiting on, but I would agree with you, VA Aggie. There is some questions. Who of the young talent is going to rise up and contribute? That will do it for us here on Friday and for the week. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box. Let us know your thoughts on the top players that we listed, if they're All-American, All-Conference, or All-Wolfpack level. Any other names you want to hear our thoughts on, drop that in the comment box as well. We'll respond to that. Anything else you have on Will Wade in basketball, Dave Dorn in football, drop that in the comment box as well. Mash that subscribe button. We'll see you right back here on Monday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.